It's time now for Mark Meets. And tonight, former Conservative Member of Parliament under Margaret Thatcher Harvey Proctor, whose illustrious career and reputation were destroyed by a series of completely false allegations that he was guilty of murder and part of a mythical paedophile ring in Westminster, a groundless story peddled by the fantasist Carl Beech, who's now serving 18 years in prison. Following their botched Operation Midland investigation and having been found to have made at least 40 mistakes in their investigation, the police apologised to Harvey Proctor, and in 2019 he is reported to have received almost £1 million in compensation and legal fees from the Met Police. Well, after 7 years of hell and the loss of his health, both mental and physical, the loss of his home, his livelihood and his reputation, I'm delighted to say that he prevails and he lives to tell the tale. Harvey Proctor, welcome to Mark Dolan tonight.
Good evening to you. Thank you for inviting me onto your programme, and good evening to your viewers as well.
Lovely to have you with us. What are your emotions, Harvey, as you once again hear the details of that great injustice done to you?
Well, it still hurts, and I can't imagine a time when it will not. And the impact was so great, so outrageous, that I don't think I will ever get over it.
Your health was affected as well?
It was. I was in reasonably good health, good physical health. I had a number of medical issues as a result of that. Of course, as you said, I lost my house, I lost my job, I lost my repute. I had death threats and I had to leave the country for almost a year. So it changed my life completely and utterly and cannot be undone.
Did you find out at that time, during those 7 years, who your friends were?
Oh, almost immediately. And that is to the good, that you know who your friends are and who are fair weather friends. And then, of course, you find out people who said nothing at the time, and then when it was all over, they came in to support.
Of course.
A bit little and a bit late.
Yes, when it was safe to do so, fair weather friends. If you could speak directly to this twisted and dishonest character, deeply destructive personality, Carl Beech, if you could speak to him, what would you say to him?
I think I'd want to know why, but really, I wouldn't wish to speak to him. I have a kind of icy contempt, and I try not to think of him or not to think of what he said and what he tried to do to my life and to others, some of whom died during the course of it or who had already died and couldn't answer back. Therefore, I feel a responsibility, now I'm the last survivor of his monstrous allegations, to defend them as well as myself.
Including former high-profile government minister Leon Brittan.
And former Prime Minister Edward Heath, and former Field Marshal Lord Bramall, whose memorial service will be coming up on Thursday of this week.
You have prevailed, however. What does the future hold for you? Because you still have a contribution to make.
Well, I would like to think so. My life has been about public service, and for a time I couldn't do that. I am at the moment back doing the job that I was forced out of, and I'm living in the house that the Metropolitan Police raided with 20 police officers in March 2015. So I'm back living where I lived before.
So there we are. We've reclaimed at least that your professional position. Let's talk about your time in the Commons. 1979 to 87, something of a golden era for the Tory party. Tell me about your time serving under your boss, Margaret Thatcher. What were your impressions of her as a Prime Minister?
Well, the two best parliaments since the Second World War. A parliament that, when we went to war, a real war, and won. In 1979, I was elected Member of Parliament for Basildon in Essex with a swing of over 11%, the largest swing to take a seat in England in 1979. So I became a Member of Parliament at the same time as Mrs Thatcher became Prime Minister. a great honour that cannot be taken away from me.
Definitely, and it was, I suppose, the first term was about winning that war in the Falklands War, of course, in which British forces prevailed, repairing the economy, getting inflation down, tackling unemployment. Of course, by 83, things started to pick up. By 87, it was booming Britain, wasn't it? Briefly, whilst we got you, we'll definitely get you back, by the way, Harvey. Your appraisal of Rishi Sunak.
I think he's been given a difficult task, which I think he's acquitting himself quite well with at the moment. Doesn't necessarily mean to say that he's going to win the next general election. Obviously, I hope he does. But I think the jury is still out on the results of the next general election. Labour have a great propensity for losing elections. And Starmer seems to be heading, to my mind, in that direction.
Harvey Proctor, candid as always. Do come back and see us soon, and fair play to you. It's great to have you in the studio.